We are live, and I'm eating pistachios. Anyway, when I started rarely use StreamYard. When I started, it says your storage is full. Either purchase StreamYard or uh, delete some stuff to give space. No idea what that's even about. Pistachios. Why are pistachios worth more money than peanuts? Okay, guys, this is not Wayne again from an undisclosed location in Cancun. If you can figure out the location, you win. I had just watched a couple videos and figured, what the heck. Don't mind me eating these peanuts, these pistachios. They're good. Probably hear it online. What's the date today? February the 28th at 3:50 in the afternoon. Last day of February this year. 28 days only. Really short month. So, what shall we do today? Any ideas? Oh, Stream Elements is working. What do you know? What time is it? 2 minutes. So it must come on after 2 minutes. After you start up at 2 minutes and Stream Elements comes on and says, yay, we're working. It's too bad Stream Labs was so the way it was. It was a great program, but it just wasn't. It had a few glitches that I didn't like. Well, that was a small, but anyway. Yorkshire pudding. Andy was telling me that it was too much I put in, and possibly I should have put a bit of water in. Well, yeah, being my first time, I didn't know. That was the first one I ever made. Made it again. Didn't show the process of making it, but I showed the end result. And I still don't think it was right. I think it was even still too much in the pan and did not cook it long enough. And I cooked this one for like 30 minutes too, and it's only supposed to be like 20 minutes. So too much and too thick. Needs to be thinner. So, got a big drink. I'm going to take this along to Escaret when I go. Be next, what is today? Tuesday? So next Tuesday. Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Because if you book a tour at least 7 days in advance, you get a 10% discount. And there are 3 levels that you can purchase. You can purchase the standard or the basic, which is 209 Canadian dollars. And then the plus, which the one that I am going to purchase, excuse me, is 243. And then the advanced package, I don't know how much, I didn't look into that one. But from the difference of price of $40 from the basic to the standard is well worth it. Actually, you get a brunch, a meal, all you can eat, and one beer can drink, non-alcoholic drinks, all you can drink while you're eating, not after the fact or before, but while you're eating, you can have as many drinks as you want, and it's a buffet, so you can eat as much as you can get. So that's I think a $35 there or $40 buffet. You don't get to eat otherwise. You can't take snacks in. You can take water. I'm going to fill this thing with some drink of some kind or water, and I'll do the buffet, which is like I said, I think it's a $35-$40. So that would be included for me when you get the plus. And then there are some lockers when you do the water river, swim and snorkeling and things like that. You that's, I forget how much it adds up to more, $5-$10 more if you buy the basic. But if you buy the plus, that's all included. And then when you do go swim in the river, you got to walk quite a ways to pick up your stuff again when you're finished. Otherwise, when you do the plus, you can pick up your goods right at the end. There's lockers right at the end there. That's where your stuff is. So that's. And then when you get the 10% off, if you book a tour 7 days in advance, you get 10% off. If you book 21 days in advance, you get 15% off. And I think that's, from what I looked into it anyways, that was the percentages that you would get off, which is pretty good. But there's 50 different things to do at Xcaret. And you should really do it in 2 days. It's a 2-day tour, really. I'm going to have to whistle through it on one day. I'll take lots of video, lots of pictures and stuff, and maybe I can make 3. Well, I should make 3 videos out of it. It should be that much recorded. So that's going to be quite the event. Next Tuesday, next Wednesday, somewhere in there, I'll do the Xcaret tour, and then on March the 21st is spring solstice. So that's when the snake appears on Chichen Itza, the snake down the temple. And that's going to be really crowded on the 21st. But up to 2 days before the spring solstice and 2 days after the 21st, you can still see the snake then. And it probably won't be as crowded. So I might go on the 20th. I'll have to think about that. If I go on the 20th, the day before, then there'd be a lot. Like I don't want to go on the day of because there's just probably going to be way too crowded. And there's a lot of real funny uh, rules that you have to follow there. Um, you have to pay 40 pesos, which is, I mean, a couple of bucks, um, if you want to take a camera. For every camera you take, it's an extra 40 pesos. So if you take your like your 35 millimeter type camera, and then you have your phone, and then you have a, a GoPro type camera, that's three different cameras. You got to pay $40, 40 pesos for each one. And you're not allowed to take a microphone with you. Well, almost everything has a microphone on it. Even my 35 millimeter type camera there, the Canon, has a audio. I don't know, maybe they mean like a separate audio, something separate. And then so that's not allowed. Um, they charge you extra for cameras. Uh, Drones are not allowed at all. So I'm not going to take my drone with me. I don't want to have it taken away on me just because, I do know the rule. It says you can't take your drone there. So I'll do that. I won't take the drone. And I'm not going to take my drone to Xcaret either. Although I never found anywhere on there that says you can't take it, or you can or can't take it. So I just won't bother. But Chichen Itza, one of the seven wonders of the world, has the snake that comes down the temple at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. I think that happens. And there's a lot of history behind the whole thing there. It's amazing. It's what you don't know is like the temple itself was built on top of an earlier temple from like 400 BC. Then that was built on top of another temple. So they built like an onion skin thing on the temple. That's how it was built. And it's four sides. There's stairs on four sides. And they point east, northwest, and south. And there's 91 steps to go up each side. So 4 times 91 is 364, and one step at the top. That's 365 days. They have one step for every day of the year. And then they have 9 tiers or something. So that it's all Mayan calendar. And human sacrifices um, were like, hello, Andy. Hello, my friend. I was just talking about Chichen Itza that I'm going to go to on March the 21st. How the pyramid, it's not a pyramid, it's a temple. How the temple uh, was created on like it's a Mayan calendar, and then the sacrifice, like the game that they used to play, either with their ankles, their hip, or their elbows. They can't kick it with their feet. They have to hit it with their ankles, like, or their hip. Try to get it through this little tiny hoop on the side of a wall. And sometimes the game would go on for days. It all depends on when the score happened. Once a team scored, the game was over. And sometimes it would take days in order for somebody to score once, because this such a small hole and a big ball, and the way they had to maneuver the ball to get it up there. I think you're alien. So the winning, now there's several ways I've heard this. The winning team was either sacrificed, like the winning team, or the winning best player would be sacrificed. And then I heard the losing team was sacrificed. So I heard, when I go again, I'm going to find out which one is the right one. But the Mayans viewed being like sacrificed as, like, when you died naturally, you would take, I forget how long to get to heaven. It took days. But if you were sacrificed, it was immediate. You were immediately went to heaven. And so they really thought highly of um, being sacrificed. They sacrificed children, adults. That was part of it was the blood that did something to the land, that brought rains and what have you. And the Mayans were so advanced, far advanced in themselves, that their calendar was so far, like, they were the ones that predicted that all the planets, however many there are now, 9 planets or whatever they were, all of them would line up in a straight line in the year 2000 and whatever year it was that happened. And this was thousands of years ago that they predicted this. How they could figure that out? That's not the reason they left Chichen Itza. I don't think they really know why they left there. It's just that they're gone. Yeah, that's a funny thing though, Andy. We're glad we're Christians, yes, but what if our religion said that sacrifices were you see, that they were born into that they don't know, any other way. So to them, when wherever you're born in the world, whatever religion is there, that's what you follow. Because back then, when the Mayans, well, yeah, there was Christianity, but not where they were. um, when the Spaniards took over, then the Catholic religion became. That's the mostly Catholic, which is a Christian religion. They believe in Christ, but not the way I do, or the way we do. So that's the hard part. When you're born into a certain religion, you think it's the one and only and the correct way. Um, I don't know how somebody could even come along and uh, teach you different, even though like, how many. This is a good question. There's Jehovah's Witnesses. There's the Seventh Day Adventists. There's, I don't know how many Christian type religions there are, and all of them are so very, very close to each other in what they believe, except for certain things. That's why they're different. But my point is, my grandparents were Jehovah's Witness, and now they feel Jehovah's Witness is like a cult and what have you. But they still lived by doing good and loving Christ, and uh, it's just that their belief was such a small difference. Now, if there is only one true right way and religion, if there's only one, what happens to those people that, like, those Christianity groups that are so close? You could live beside your neighbor, and he could be a complete different religion, yet he follows the same way you do. You pray to Jesus and your God, and you do all those, thou shalt not do this and that. That's a good one. Like, I don't know. My grandparents were like Jehovah's Witness, and up until they passed away. And is God going to bring them back and say, well, you were close, And unfortunately, you weren't right, or whatever the case might be. That's a hard one. Good day, Rob, on the road. How you doing? Yeah, Andy, you got to know that whatever you are is is right for you. That's otherwise, if you didn't think that was right for you, you would change. But yeah, you've got to think whatever your beliefs are is right for you. Hmm. Just getting set up. I'm going to do my. I'm going to go to Eshkaret, which is about hour and a half away. I would think 90 minutes. I think they said. It's just a little past Playa del Carmen from Cancun, so it's not that far. It's a huge park, though. They have 50 different events that you can go to right from. There's rivers that go out to the ocean, and you go in the rivers with uh, well, what do you call those floating device things, vest, and then you can float down these rivers, get out at the end, go down, do some snorkeling at another place. So there's water events, then there's just land events where you can look at not ruins like Chichen Itza is, and they have a big butterfly aviary place or whatever with butterflies. They have the whole top netted in so they can't fly away, but there's thousands and thousands of different kinds of butterflies there. How is your back anyway? Yeah, I'm gonna have an aching back forever afterwards, but it's not as bad as I really thought it would be. Um, when you sit and relax for a long period of time and you don't move, then when you go to get up or go to move or turn, then it hurts a little. Um, I'm thinking like an aching back as opposed to piercing pain. There's no more piercing pain kind that when I had first had it, but there's always like a backache, sore, like um, when you're working in the garden or something in the summertime and you're bent over doing something and then you get up and oh my back, oh, you stretch it out. That's what I feel mostly all the time. So I think that's as good as it's probably going to get, especially at my age. You can't just bounce back from. I don't know. Is age part of it? The minute I touch the table, the screen vibrates. I know you can only see my head because I have my shirt is over there, and nobody wants to see nudity. There's no nudity involved in this live stream. I did make Yorkshire pudding again, and I think I still had it too thick, but it was good though. I could have cooked it a little bit longer, I think, too, till it gets more crispy. It was nice and brown on the whole thing. The middle of it seemed pretty puffy, which I thought, wow, look at that, it's puffed right up. But I think maybe in the pan, and because I got it hot, I put it in the oven this time, and then when I was ready to pour the batter in, I put it on the burner on the stove for a minute just to get it super extra hot, and then I put the whole thing in. But I think I had like too much oil in the bottom still. I know it should be oily, but but it was smoking. So the heat is the biggest trick of all. Second biggest trick is the amount of batter you put in, as opposed to what's in the ingredients. I mean, as long as you just got the three main components, flour, eggs, and milk, that's all you really need. Then you can go add other things like what is it? The mustard powder, some kind of seasonings, whatever you want. You can add those however you like it, I suppose. I just wondered what would happen if you put a little bit of garlic powder in there, or I already, oh, and salt. Sorry, I put salt in mine. So the four type of ingredients. Um, just eating it by itself. No tap dancing for now. Oh, and that's what another thing for the river events. I bought a pair of what do you call them? Well, they call them agua shoes. Agua is water. Water shoes. They're they're meant to uh, they're a harder bottom sole that rather than real rubbery, but they're better in the water. That you can they don't slip as easy. So when you're walking on the rocks there, if you're just on your bare feet, that's how I slipped and fell so fast when I broke my back to begin with. Just stepped off a 6 inch ledge there and down she goes. I should check out the size. I don't want them too big. They should be okay. And what else did I get for the water? Um, they give you snorkel and stuff there. That comes with the package you buy. You can keep the mouth part. The goggles you have to return, or it's a $25 fee to keep it. I don't need that. But the snorkel part is, or the yeah, the snorkel part is cheap, but you're allowed to keep that part. And it's well worth getting the plus package for what you get a little extra. You save um, 15 or $20. Well, not only that though, you're not allowed to take food in on your own, like a sandwich and stuff. And if you're there all day, you want to eat something. And yeah, they have restaurants there. They got three of them, but it costs you 35 or $40. And if you buy the plus package, that's all included. And it's a buffet, which means there's all different kinds of foods, and you just eat till you're full, and you get one beer for free. Oh, that's included, and all you can drink of water or sodas while you're eating, not before or after you eat. But so while you're eating, you can drink all this soda pop you want. I'm just chewing on these pistachios. I like those pistachios. They're good. So another quick pop up. It says, not Wayne again. What's he doing? Popping up again. And you can see that I'm on StreamYard now. Until I want to wait till the seconds. That's when I started EV Mukes. I want to see if my hours go back to zero, or does it carry on? How do you know how many hours you've used? So I'm just going to leave it the way it is now until until the 2nd, which is just a couple more days. And to purchase EV Mukes is not worth it for me. I mean, well, sometimes, yeah, it all depends. The worth it would be if I go more than, if I'm streaming every other day for a couple hours. Holy smokes. I don't know how, well, yeah, I do know how I can find the time at the moment because I'm not working, of course. So I can, instead of twiddling my thumbs, and I just can't get out and do stuff in Cancun all the time, everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. I have not been to the out of the city things to do, like Xcaret, Chichen Itza, Tulum. I don't think I'll be able to make Tulum this year, but I've been to Xcaret once before. I'm going to go again, and I've been to Chichen Itza before, and I'm going to go again. Chichen Itza, one of the 7 wonders of the world. What a culture! My goodness. Your favorite nut, pistachios. They're they're all cracked open. Pistachios and cashews. They're pretty an expensive nut compared to like a peanut. And the dentist people told me you shouldn't be eating nuts. I do anyway. And I'm so surprised that when they put your crowns on your tooth, whatever method is makes it stay there. I'm surprised at how well it works. My last crowns, which had to all come off and put new ones on because I didn't even look after those, and my gums were pretty inflamed. But no cavities, of course. And my gums were not good because I didn't look after them that well. I'm doing much better this time. And the whole idea is if you get into the routine of brushing. As a matter of fact, I was in Playa del Carmen last week, down at the beach area, where they have all kinds of festivity things going on, and people are just out walking around. And I seen this one guy there. He walks over to these bushes, and I thought he was going to have a piss there because he kind of walked into the bushes a little bit. And what he did was brush his teeth. For a long time, he brushed his teeth, and then he did the dental floss thing, poking the way, and then brushed his teeth some more. And this is not even at home; like it's out in the out on the beach area. And I thought, wow, this guy's really looking after his teeth. But to go to Playa del Carmen is pretty easy. And it costs about, well, two ways would be $15, $15 or $16 return. Like luxurious type of bus, nice soft seats, TV. Um, I think there's like three or four televisions in there, and placed at certain places. You can watch a movie as you're going. It only takes three-quarters of an hour. Yeah, all depending on traffic, of course. Sometimes just to get out of Cancun takes over half an hour just to get out of Cancun to get to the highways, and the highways are hustle bustle all the time. And then coming back is the same thing. When you come back, and when you just before you get to Cancun city limits, that gets pretty busy again. So there's that to deal with. So how is it going anyways? Are you doing any of your projects that you had going there? I had yesterday, Monday was last night was the meeting night, but I was out when at 6 o'clock or whatever time it was. I was not available, and I popped in later at 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30. But I was still doing workout things on the computer and what have you. So while I was listening, I was doing work on the computer a little bit too at the same time. So then when people ask, "Hey Wayne, what da 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 da," then you have to figure out, oh, somebody was talking to me. I had the audio on. I could hear. Oh, here comes a water truck. They sing Agua Poca. Agua Poca. Agua is water. Water. I don't know what poca means. Agua Poca. Let me just look that up. What the heck is poca mean? Don't even know if it's actual the word poca, but let's find out. Oh yeah, poca, not toca. Poca. I guess I have to spell it. Poca. Poca in English is poca in Spanish. Poka. So agua poca is water poca. Big water truck goes by with those 5 gallon uh, jugs that you switch out for the ones you got in your house, and you switch them for full ones, or you you take your empty ones to the corner store and swap them out for. That's what I. They're pretty heavy though. Uh, a five gallon jug is $50 or $50, 50 pounds, a pound per gallon. No, a pound per. What the heck? 5 gallons is 10 pounds per gallon. That's what it is. So 5 gallons is 50 pounds. I used to have fish for most of tropical fish aquariums for most of my lifetime. And so I kind of knew a little bit about water, how much water, this and that. I had 50 gallon tanks, 30 gallon tanks. The bigger the aquarium you get, the easier it is to take care of. People would say, "Well, do I want to do a fish aquarium hobby?" and they buy a small 10-gallon tank. Well, actually, a 10-gallon tank is a lot of work because it's so small. It's an ecosystem, and it'll get algae or whatever problems you have. If you don't look after it really well, it'll have problems, and then you're looking after those, and then your fish will start to die. And um, so the bigger the aquarium is, the easier it is to take care of. And it's hard to talk someone into that's never had fish before to buy a 35 minimum maybe size aquarium. That's a lot of money to put, just the aquarium. Then you need the pump, the lights, the gravel, uh, the fish are your cheapest things. Everything that makes the aquarium is what's expensive. And then putting the fish in. And you can't just set up your aquarium, put the water in, and put the fish in right away. You've got to have it set up for, I would say, 3 weeks to a month before you should actually introduce your fish. You got to get all the bacteria growing in there before you introduce the fish. Your water will turn really cloudy at the beginning, even with no fish. And then once your water clears up, that's when you can put fish in. So I have, just looking at this, I have this little SIM card, not SIM card, SD card. The top of it broke off. It was a slight bit longer than this. It's a guarantee for this thing. Now it's guaranteed to not work as far as data goes, but not guaranteed as far as I broke it. I don't know how I broke it. It's just, I must have. I used to put it in the Avada all the time, and it had to be fast. This is a really fast card. It's 128 gig. I got a hard drive in my computer that's 512. That's 4 of these little SIM cards or SD cards. Amazing. But it's got the letter U with the 3 in it. That's what you're looking for. And a class 10 or whatever, I think also. But it's the U with the U symbol with the number in it. Not number 1, that's too slow. U3, that's fast. And this one's by Kingston, which is kind of a popular card. SanDisk is another popular card. I think I got another slight burn happening, and your skin tightens up. And wonder where Mr. Ronnie Braun is today. He's usually on. He must be at live streams. That's his job. I ate that whole bag of pistachios. Probably not good for me. So if I book a deal with Eshkaret, it's got to be a week in advance. So today's Tuesday. So if I book, it's going to be next Tuesday, Wednesday, before I should really go. If I want to save the 10%, 10%, what is it, 230 or it's 240. So that's $24 to $25 off, 10%, which is, pretty good saving already again. So we may have to do that. And you can do that online. I suppose they would give you, now there again too, you can get on the bus, they pick you up at certain hotels. I'm not at a hotel, so I have to take the city bus to get to the hotel where the pickup point is. I don't know what time that would be though. Um, that's 40 pesos, which is like $2. $2 to drive you an hour and a half. It's pretty good. Now, if you take the regular audio bus there yourself, that's going to be 200 pesos. So there again, I want to get the tour package, which you can save like almost $100. Anyways, yeah. The weirdest thing is the more you buy, the more you get to save. And I've seen some Americans, they must be rich. The amount of money they'll fork out for things is just incredible, and they think they're getting a deal. They don't even barter. They just, and a Mexican will look at you if you don't barter with them. They look at you and say, "Well, don't you want it for cheaper?" So I came on a little early today, but I think I might pop on again later after supper time, or after dinner time, whatever you want to call it. I want to have something good to eat, and then I might pop on once the sun goes down again. I did a nice flight here above my house, up and down La Luna Avenue, and I'm going to post that. But I can't post that right away. I want to keep everything in order, so I'm usually behind by about almost a month behind on my videos and when they're posted. So I've got things that I've done a month ago that still aren't out yet. And most of them are drone flying, usually on the beach or in parks. If it's the Avata, most I don't I don't fly the Mini 3 in the parks too much because they're full of trees, and the Mini 3 doesn't have prop guards. And it has sensors though, which the Avata doesn't. Sense it's bumping into something, not sideways, but only forward and backwards and down. The Avata only has a downward sensor, when it's going to come into land, but it has no forward or sideways or backward sensing at all. So if you bump into something, or if a tree's ahead of you, it'll just bump into it. But what I see in the goggles is much clearer than looking at your, well, not your phone, but the controller, looking at the controller. If it's too sunny or too bright, then you can't see the controller that well. You have to be in the shade. Whereas the goggles it's dark in there in the goggles, but the screen is right at your eyes. And those goggles make it's one screen that you look at with two. Some goggles have the whole screen on each eye, so it's divided in the center. And then when you set the distance and all that, then it looks like one complete picture. Although you're seeing the complete picture with each eye, it's weird. It's weird how that is. And this one called the optical, so I can move it side to side, so the center of the eye can move sideways this way and that way, and then I can also focus so that you can see the edges are clear on, so it's clear all the way around. And then I can also make the screen either 100% the size or 80% or 90%, I think. So you can make the screen smaller so you can see the edges better. Because all your data is around the outside edge. Your battery life that you have left, how many satellites you're connected to, your altitude, your distance, your speed, all that's all around the outside edges. And if you can't see the outside edges very well, then you don't know what's happening. You don't know how many satellites you're connected to, how many bars you got left that you're in communication with the drone. Because if you get too far away, it all depends on where you're at. Now you can set your return home to whatever altitude you want, so that would clear buildings and stuff. But let's say you're underneath something and it wants to return home. It's going to first go up to your required altitude and then fly home and avoid things on the way. But if you have it set for higher than the trees, it'll just come straight home. But if you're at the moment down low underneath tree cover and it wants to come home, it's going to go up and hit the trees. So there's that problem. Then also it's where you take off from. If you take off, the home point has been updated, but if you walk away a little ways, if you're under some vegetation and then you walk out into a clearing and you say return home, the drone's going to come back to where it took off from, which is in the bushes. Hello, Justin and Christina. How are you doing today? How are your? I didn't see you pop in there early. Well, a minute ago. A quick pop up again. Love it, fun. Nothing else to do. Might as well do something. And I'm gonna pop up again probably later on tonight, unless I got too many things to do. I just put out a video earlier. I might work on another video. I don't know. I just hate sitting around doing nothing. And I can sit on the computer and talk to myself on lives. That's no problem there. So, and we're on StreamYard again today because I want to wait till the 2nd to test out something. I think on the 2nd was the day I started using EVMux. And I want to see what happens when my time that I've used. It shows me how much time that I've used up, and I want to see what happens on the 2nd. Does it zero itself out and start you over, or does it just continue? And if it just continues, how do you know how many? Like if you get your, I don't even know how StreamYard does that. How do you know how many? I'm gonna have to check that one out. How many hours you've used of your time, or or do they tell you? I don't even remember. 81 Fahrenheit and sunny today. It was hot today here too. Let me just see if I can see what the temperature is right now. Oh yeah. Well, the temperature, they say right now at 4:11, which was 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, half an hour ago, it was 28 degrees, but it was hotter than that earlier because we're under cloud cover now. Oh, Van Life with Gina. I just went and watched one of her videos. She says, hello, thanks for watching. And a few other friends say hello. So there we go. I got a few other things I got to do yet. So 81 Fahrenheit, that's warm too. Very nice weather. And hoping next week is going to be okay, so that when I go to Xcaret, and then at the end of the month, end of March, on the 21st of March, which is the spring solstice. That's when they have the snake that comes down the temple, the pyramid. Well, it's not a pyramid; it's a temple. So I want to go there on the day before or the day, I haven't decided yet, day before or day after, because you can still see the snake on those days, up to 2 days before the spring and fall solstice, and a day, 2 day up to 2 days after, you can still see the snake. Then I think it might say somewhere when you log into StreamYard how many hours you have. That okay, I'm going to have to check that one out. Whether it zeroes itself off, or how do you know how many hours you've used, and when is your month? Is your month run from the time you signed up, or is it from the month from? Obviously, that would be the case. It wouldn't be from the first till the end of the month. It would be 30 days from the time you signed up until 30 or 31 days later. But I mean, when you have a computer, it keeps track of that. You don't need to. Days before computers, you had to write it down. But yeah, somewhere it should tell you. Although EVMux tells me how many hours I've used in my dashboard, tells me no problem. But I want to see what happens when I started. I thought it was on the first, but it was the second, because where I am and where the EVMux is the time change was in effect, and must have went near midnight, and it was already the next day for them. So I started on the second. Because I had a bit of a thing there. They said I was at the 30-hour limit. I could have been, because I was going quite a bit on. But what I saw on my end was 20 hours, just shy of 20 hours. And they said I was already at 30, which is like 10 hours difference. And then they said that okay, there's projects and scenes. A scene is, or a session, not scene, a session. A session is how you build your screen, your scene, and that's a session. But you can also have projects, and a project is like a folder of a bunch of scenes. There's sessions. So in your folder, you can have a Monday session, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a session for church, or a session for this or that. They said I deleted a project, and I had just learned what a project was and only made one. And so I had two, the original project, and then I made an extra one to find out what the heck is a project. And they said, you can't see the 30 hours because you deleted one project. And I asked them for more or less like proof. Show me, if you can see that I've got 30 hours, show that to me, that I've used 30 hours. Show it to me, because they can see it. So prove it to me. Well, they still didn't prove it to me. And I don't think they're trying to pull a shady one over on me. It's just I believe them, I guess. But I just would like to see. And they said they're going to implement that on the dashboard in the future here coming up, that you can see exactly how many hours you've. Well, I can sort of see already my hours. What's the problem? I don't know. They're a pretty new company. I think they've only been out for a year. So you might have to count the time from the live streams you're done by adding them up. Yeah, count them myself, keep track of them myself. That's what I'm waiting for the second here to find out. And then I'll start using EVMux again. And well, by then I should know whether my hours stay on what they are. And I won't add any more projects or delete them. I'll just keep what I have. And then I'll count up my own hours and find out. I'll add my own hours up until next month, and then I can find out what my actual time really is. Because each time you go offline, it does come on and say you've used 1 point something hours. So that should be correct. Anyways, it's not a big deal. It'd be a bigger deal if you pay for something and you're not getting what you paid for. And that was a bit like Streamlabs. I paid for Streamlabs not quite a year ago. No, yeah, not quite a year ago. But they were kind of a shady company. It's OBS. Uh, I don't even know how to explain how shady that, like, they would do things with they would offer you things that you get to use, but they weren't really allowed to sell you those things, sort of thing. It was strange how they worked out. Snowed. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Snowdebs. Snowdebs. You have popped in here several times, and you know what? Let me look it up. I got your name here, Snowdebs, but I don't have your real name, your real first name, unless you don't want to share that. I don't know why you wouldn't want to share your real first name. Everybody has a first and a last name. Yeah, Snowdebs, but I don't have. You can give me a fake one if you like, as long as you remember it all the time. You are already a winner. What do you mean by what do you mean by a winner? I'm a winner. What did I win? I'm actually subscribed to you, Snowdebs, but I don't know anything. I don't know. I think you don't have either much content or not very none at all. I can't remember now. Okay, Mr. John Smith. Thank you, John. Mostly for my benefit anyway. Um, I probably won't remember your name for at least a couple times that you show up. But anybody else that pops in here, like Justin and Christina is here, they might remember your name, but there are other people that will pop in will never, uh, won't know you anyway. So whatever you give, I don't really care if it's made up or whatever. But if just so long as you know that if I call you John from now on, you know who I'm talking about. I have a nephew back in Alberta. Uh, are you metric or C? Are you talking to Justin and Christina, or if you're talking, I'm metric fellow. I'm metric, all right. I think all of the United States is still imperial. They're not metric or whatever it is. Um, they should change to the metric system, anyways. SAE. Oh, SAE. Okay. Or SEA. The ocean. C. French is a weird one for yes. Oui. Oui. Stick my neck up. Rob was giving me heck one day about being shirtless. My shirt's over there. Oh, no, it's right behind me. That's why you can only see my head. But here in Mexico, the word yes is sí, and in French it's oui. I never checked the wrench to see. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Every time I touch the table, the screen vibrates. So if you see me going da 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 da, I never check the wrench. I think you have a wrench. As a matter of fact, Justin or Christina or both of you, you are a super moderator. You'll have to look up what kind of responsibilities you really have. I somehow uh, you and someone else. I made a mod. I don't know how. It must have been somehow. I made. I look on my analytic page and it shows you and another. I forget who it is. Are super mods, which you can do certain things to. Unbelievable what you can do. Four inches is 10 centimeters. Yeah, and then what is it? -40. -40 Fahrenheit is the same as -40 Celsius. That's where they meet. Otherwise, it's quite different. But I mean, Canada was with the Fahrenheit. That's the way they were until I don't know how many years ago they switched to the metric system. But now that we are at the Celsius thing, Fahrenheit seems so like not good. Why would you have 32 degrees as freezing water free at 32 above? Like, hey, the sun's shining right in my eyes. Zero in Celsius is freezing. Now that makes sense. I can you can moderate other mods, which is the biggest difference. But what do you mean by you can moderate other mods? Like, okay, can an ordinary moderator cannot time out or whatever another moderator, but maybe a super mod can do that. You will ask Jebs. I used to have my computer was set up as Jarvis at one time. I could talk to my computer and it would do things like Jarvis from not Iron Man, whatever that. Yeah, Iron Man guy. That's it, it. Would do things like that. It could turn the lights off and on. It could do. Holy! Now that was a motorcycle. Yeah, but there's really super other things that a super moderator can do. Iron Man. Yeah, that's the one. Um, you can do something with time. You can almost like take over the live stream. Um, there's I kind of looked at it a little bit. It said, there's a learn more click. You click here and you can learn more. And I read a few minor things of what it can do. And you can adjust like things that you got to be really careful on who you give that status to as super moderator because they can do like, wow, they can do things like unbelievable. So I don't know how you got in there, but that's what just to let you know that's what that's what you can do. You are a super moderator. Armchair Wanderer, Mr. Bruce. Yeah, I know, Bruce. It's me again, and that's why I kind of put that up there. People can say, "Oh, not Wayne again." Jumping Jiminy, jumping Jesus. Uh, Not Wayne again. Can they take back my last 20 minutes? No, they can't do that, unfortunately. Yes, I can answer comments in the comments of what video. You can answer comments in the comments of videos. I'm not quite too sure what that means, but at least you know what that means. And let me just see here. I'm not even typing in what's going on. I want to stream for Mr. Bruce there. Yes, it is. Justin and Christina should be working. I'm not quite too sure if I have Snow Debs in there. What the heck is going on today? Yes, I have Snow Debs in there. See, I am subscribed to you. See that? Mr. John? Because I've got you programmed into Stream Elements. Aha! And Andy, where's Andy? Manic. Right. It's the Manic part. I've got just the first names of the person's channel programmed in. And I think I've got everyone added in there that's subscribed to me. There you go. There's the links to just about everybody that's either was watching or is watching at the moment. You can check them out. I can see youtube.com user snowdebs, like what do you call handles? You're not using your handles on your Justin and Christina. You're using the old method still, where you put the /C. Now you can take the /C out of there and just put the @ symbol, the ampersand, whatever you call that symbol, and then Justin and Christina's thing. That's your, well, unless you can go look it up and somebody else is using it. You can look up to see what your handle is. YouTube gives you one if you don't ask for one. But a lot of them are still using I think, what is the limit? 100 subscribers before you can actually change your link to your actual name. So once you get 100 subscribers, you can put it in. So Snow Debs, you must have 100 subscribers at least, or because you're or wait a minute now. You might be able to. It looks like I can make clips of the live stream. I accidentally fell into that option, but canceled the action. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I'm waiting for Wayne to post how to use a bucket. I use a bucket in my van when I'm living in my van. I do have a toilet and shower and everything in there, just it's storage space. I'm still got too much stuff. And I've tried several times to look at everything and get rid of the things I really don't need. But every time I look at one thing, I thought, oh, but I really should need that. I need that. And I keep it. And then the next thing and the next thing. Before you know it, I haven't got rid of anything. So I don't know how I'm gonna not necessarily. It's maybe if I had a storage place to store things, at least I'd know I'd still have it. I just have to go get it when I need to use it. Like when I was living in my house before I moved out, I had a 2 bedroom house. The second bedroom was full of things that I would open the door and look in there, and I'd say, I haven't really seen inside here for months and months. I said, almost everything in there I don't need because it's months and months and months have gone by and I haven't even taken anything out of there to use. So I could throw it all away. Oh, when I first moved into the van, I threw away a lot of stuff and gave a lot of stuff away. Now I'm thinking, oh boy, I really could use that now. You run into trouble when downsizing, when you start saying, what if? Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I can show, yeah, I can show comments. Can you do that? Justin and Christina there, can you show comments like that? I'm waiting for Wayne to post how to use a bucket. What do you want to use that bucket for there, John? What kind of ideas do you have behind that? Yeah, what if I need that? I'm not a hoarder though. I don't think. I don't think I'm hoarding things so much as I think hoarding things is when you gather things you really don't need that nobody really needs. Can't highlight comments. Okay. Oh, I've never done. If you mean going in a bucket, I've never ever done that. Um, not in the van. Like I said, I have a toilet and stuff in there, and I've used the toilet once. The shower I used once just to see how it works, but you the toilet is in the same area as the shower, so when you can sit down on the toilet and shower because when you stand up, the shower head is like right here. You can't. It's not above my head. So I did that in the summer, see how it all works, make sure all the plumbing worked, make sure that it held water, and it's just too much weight to carry a water around. I think it was a 50 gallon. I don't know, lots of water. It's way too heavy. Um, Even to like I'm overloaded when I got all my stuff in there, and then another person, and then me, and then water yet on top of it. So, but I've never done that, John. It's not that I think it's uh, gross or anything. I just I find well, it all depends on where you are and what you're doing, I suppose. If you're out in the wilderness, like if you're out in the desert somewhere, and there are no toilets around. I've never been where there are no public toilets that you could use, and there are public toilets everywhere in every fast food place in Canada. When I'm spending the time in the cities, like in Vancouver, they're everywhere, and showers are everywhere. But yeah, if you're a camper that is camping out in the wilderness, then I guess you can turn off on and on slow mode. Now, slow mode, that's for how fast people can text and stuff, right? That's when there's like a lot of when there's 100 people watching and they're all texting all at one time. Slow mode makes it easier so it doesn't go so fast. I think if that's what that is. Well, that's a good feature. That's a good thing to know. No, is that got what the bucket trick in there? I haven't seen that one yet. Although I am subscribed to him. Um, I'm gonna have to go and check that one out. I don't know if you watch Van Life Rocks, Ray. He does that. He does the bucket. I think he's got 5 buckets for all different kinds of things. Yes, they can. Only comment once. Oh, that's what it does. Oh, it slows it down so that you're not okay. That's what slow mode does. Aha! It times them out for there you go. Times them out for something. Oh, and I never noticed this before too. By the by your icon there. Oh, I'm only streaming to YouTube, so they all have that little symbol there. But if you were streaming to more than one, it would show that little symbol. One's from Facebook, one's from YouTube. Ah, cool, very cool indeed. Learning stuff today. Frosty put that down. I got to go check that one out. Thanks for the heads up. Urbano. Some Mexican guy here that makes jewelry. Handmade. Now that's the kind of stuff you want to buy, as opposed to the stuff bought from other countries. Frosty Forest. I like his rig. Mine was built by a company that way. I didn't get a choice in where things are and how they work and everything. But when you can build things out yourself, then it makes, then you've got it the way you like it, which makes it, much different. Mr. D-Mile, you're ready for your close-up. You use an actual bucket. Like some people use, there's many different kinds. When you, how is that? I guess it's almost like a composting, but there are different types of composting ones. And I saw one video where that was very actually pretty good. You turn the crank and it sort of moves it around, and so that even the smell or whatever can't escape. But it also, whatever you put in there also makes a difference. You're a heckler. Lugabaloo. That's the lid that goes on a 5-gallon bucket. It's like a toilet seat. You were kidding about the bucket. Oh no. I have a bucket. I was real sick one time, had to throw up. That came in handy. That came in real handy. And those portable toilets can be actually pretty small this way. You need a stand to put them on to get them up a little higher. Heckler, pull a rabbit out of your pants. Yeah, out of your hat. Yeah. Well, one girl, solo female, she made a video about. It was just a short, but she said, and her van was not a high top, but not a low top either. It had like, I think you could stand up in it. It was like a combination between the two there, and the short was something like she said like I'm a female living solo, and it's how she worded it which made it really funny. Like, yes, it's serious stuff, but it's really funny at the same time. So she was saying something about like, here's my kitchen, and I'm shitting in a bucket in my kitchen. Like when that's you're so confined, area that she said, here I am shitting in a bucket in my kitchen, and then her bedroom's right, close there too. And yeah, well, once you do live in a van or a vehicle like that, like I don't know, I don't think I could ever really live in an SUV. I would need a van. I need a little bit of in an SUV. There is no walk space, although there's not much walk space in my van either, where I can walk from the front to the back. Uh, Square footage wise, standing up, you only need 1 square foot to stand of space, no matter if you're in a 2,000 square foot home or more. You can only use 1 square feet of it. So, but in a van, you got less than. And in an SUV, you even got less. You just got like a place to sleep and then a place to store your stuff, and hopefully have a little bit of a kitchen to cook. And cooking would be there's a whole bunch of trickery stuff that you got to worry about. Oh, Chrome made one like that too. Yeah, like you shit in your in your kitchen or in your. Yeah, I mean it's a tricky subject, but you got to deal with it. I mean, and if you're the type of person that doesn't like that type of thing, well, then that van life is not for you. You've got to understand that your laundry, having a shower, going to the bathroom, um, things like that are not the same as when you're living in a house. You could have a nice hot shower every single day when you're in a house, but in a van, you have to miss a day or two to have a real good shower. I mean, you can kind of what they call that bathing, just with a day. You got to have water, not a lot of, but yeah, touchy subject, but a necessity. That's for sure. Yeah, and you have to learn to deal with that. That's an absolute. Um, Grocery shopping, well, you can't maybe have as many groceries as you have when you're in a house. Although if you're even a couple, I mean, if you have a family, it's a little different too. But I mean, for one person, there's not much. You don't want to keep a lot because you have to eat it either quickly or make sure that it's kept cold. So there is like groceries, like I said, laundry. There are a lot that you can go laundromats everywhere, but it's not probably as the same as when you're living in a house. You can't just go down the basement, turn your washer on, and do your laundry. And like I said, your showers are different. Uh, if you can go 3 days without shower, you got to do it. You got to do. You have to do grocery. Let me put this up here so I can read it. I can read it better up here. You have to do the groceries a little more often than yeah, that's right. Um, every time I move the table, the whole screen wobbles. Um, yeah, a little more often, maybe less amounts of food, and all depends whether you like leftovers or not all the time. It's harder to cook for one person than it is for two or more, because usually things come in if you're coming in. Hi, Diana, or Diana, Diane, Phoenix. Hi, how are you doing? I just got home from grocery shopping. Oh wow, laundry depends on how much you have compared to how much storage there is. Yes, no kidding. And let me just see if I can type this in here. You should be in the system, even though some people don't have um, content or anything. Sometimes I there if I have their link, I put it in anyways. Yeah, Diane's is in there. Have uh, any content at all, and some don't even have any subscribers. That's just the way they like it. Well, that's a good size. How big is this? Oh, here we go. Something written over here. 1,000 milliliters or 34 ounces. Oh, good. When I take this along to Eshkaret, um, no content, but 75 subs. Oh, cool. You need 25 more subs, I think. I think the limit's 100. 25 more subs, and then you can change your channel mumbo jumbo, what letters and numbers and all that stuff there. You can change it to your actual channel name. I think that's the first carrot that YouTube puts in front of your nose is 100 subs. Maybe it's even less than. I don't know. I've been so long since I've been there, but then you can change your name, and then I don't know what the next carrot is. 1,000 subs. Showering is different. Different. Let me put this. Let me pop this one up. Showering is a bit different depending on your setup, but either way, we like to shower out of the van because it causes a lot of condensation. Yeah, yeah, there, that too. Condensation, especially like in the winters when, I mean, like I said, I did shower in my van once, and that was the summertime. I wanted, I wanted to see if the hot water, I don't even have the hot water turned on anyway. And I don't run water in my unit, although I have the tanks and I have the hot water heater. And usually, if I do dishes, if I'm doing dishes, I just heat up a little bit of water on the stove. I don't use my sink. I got a granite countertop by a friend of mine in Medicine Hat, MTM Granite, it's called. He made me a granite countertop, and it's heavy. It sits on my countertop there and right over the sink. So I can't just like move it off to do the dishes. And that's what happened when I first bought the van. I would make like sandwich. I'd eat this, and then there were like crumbs on the plate. You'd wash your dishes, and the crumbs would go down the sink. And my unit has just one tank. It doesn't have a black tank and a gray tank, they call it. It just had a tank where all your sewage would go into this one tank. Your toilet wastes and your washing dishes wastes and everything. But because I didn't use the toilet, I washed the crumbs from my sandwiches down into that thing there. Now I didn't put any kind of things to stop any smell or anything, but after a little while, I thought I had. It smelled like when you leave a sandwich out or a piece of bread out somewhere, and it gets to smelling like a rotting smell. And I thought, well, what did I make something and just forgot it somewhere? I couldn't find out where that was coming from. And then I emptied that tank because I thought, well, okay, I've done the dishes a few times, and brush your teeth or whatever have you goes there. I'll empty that out. So I emptied that out, and that smell went away. That's when I realized, aha! Even your when you're doing your dishes and you have food particles go down into that area, and you don't use a detergent of some sort to then it smells like I'd left a sandwich out somewhere, food, or like you leave an orange out somewhere. And I thought, oh, that's what that was. So anyway, I don't use my sink anyway. And there again, you deal with what you got. Whatever it is, you deal with it. Yeah, showering makes condensation and humidity, everything goes up. We rarely use our sink to wash dishes unless it's something particularly hard to clean. We use rubbing alcohol and water in a spray bottle with paper towels or even disposable dishware. Um, I don't know, like for me anyway, I find it. I don't do it all the time though, but it's best that you wash your dishes right away, like right after you're finished. And I use vinegar and water, a spray, and then do it right away. If it's something hard you got to scrub off, well, then you use a little bit of water and scrub it out and throw it out the door, or you know dispose of it some other way. But yeah, you usually, and when you make like meals or something, whatever you're like, let's say you're making soup and you got it in a big pot, or however a pot, and you make yourself a soup. Well, I eat right out of the pot. I don't put it in a bowl to eat. I eat, so I only got one dish to do. Like I don't put it in a bowl just to eat it. Like to me, that's a waste. I have dishes. I have pots and pans and silverware, but I don't use a lot of it. I only need one fork. I only need one spoon. I only need one knife. So there's those, and then I don't eat out of the frying pan. But if you're making like a soup, or if I make oatmeal or something in the morning, I'll just eat right out of it, as opposed to, well, after it's kind of cooled down a bit. You don't want it hot. So that's how I save there. And then I have actually something called a spork, which is a spoon and a fork. It's a spoon with kind of teeth on the front of it. on the tip, so you can use it as a fork and you can use it as a spoon, and it's called a spork. Yeah, yeah, I know you have the the two adults and the one little guy. Yeah, so you're a complete different in a different different category there. And then you got a dog yet too, which is a little different again. So there are like another set of rules and regulations you got to follow and go along with how to make that work. And there's not only that, there's I don't know if what are they called now? They're called Canadian Wanderers or Wandering Canadians. Eddie and Monica, they lived in a van, just a regular sized van, which they built out themselves, and then they sold that and they bought a Class A motorhome, a big one. All right, Diane, thank you for popping in. You're sleepy. You went out for your shopping, got it all done. Thank you for popping in. Nice to see you come and say hi and stick around for a little while. Thank you. And Eddie and Monica, they live in a big Class A motorhome now. But when they were in their little, I always thought that's got to be a lot more tough than me. A couple living in a van. It's not that uh, you got to be really good friends because that's got to be tough. I have sometimes a few arguments in my van with myself, but it's only me. So and I always win because I don't have to worry about losing any arguments at all. And then when you have like a toddler and a dog yet, that's a whole new system there. And it looks like you're doing really well with that. That's the main thing. Let me turn that air conditioning off a little bit. Maybe that my microphone on the computer sometimes picks up really well, and you can hear everything. And the next time, like you don't hear anything. But thanks, Diane, for popping in. That was great. Thank you. Always enjoy your company. You have utensils set individually, packed enough for 4 people. Oh, cool. Yeah, I think if you go to a shopping center and buy silverware, yeah, you can buy, like in the dollar store, you can buy individual pieces, but in some places they give you like sets, a set of place for 4 people, like 4 forks, 4 spoons, 4 knives, for this, for that, 4 plates, 4 bowls, 4 cups. Then you can buy the whole setup. And there again, the drawer that I have for my the utensils. Well, I think I only have 1 fork, maybe 2 spoons the same way, but there's enough room in there for to keep a lot more. It's just I don't have a lot. I don't really. I must have more than one of because I've had people stay over. Like they'll come, we'll shoot the breeze for a while, and then we'll have something to eat or something to drink. So I've got more cups and silverware than just one set. I do too. Yeah, and then even at the dollar store. No, I think at the dollar store you can buy individual utensils. And there again, I like. mostly plastic stuff, like plastic bowls and plastic cups, except coffee cup, I think, or my coffee cup's glass. But I think I'll be drinking more. I didn't drink too much coffee when I was in. I have a coffee a press. Um, I forget the name of the press. You put the hot water in, press it down. I have that. Magnetic strip for cooking utensils and knives. Not sure yet. Yeah, I've seen a few of those that have those magnetic strips. They seem to work okay, even when they're bouncing around on the highways and the roads and stuff. That seems to hold. You think off when you're like your butcher knives and your forks and spoons and stuff. But no, the ones that I've seen anyway. Um, I've even had that I went to watch. They would talk about those things. Other ones you'd watch, you'd see they have this on the wall. They didn't mention anything about it, but I would even look at some YouTube's channels about that particular magnetic thing, and they didn't have no problems at all either. And I suppose it all depends on what kind of magnets. If there's those neomagnets, those are pretty strong. They'll they'll hold. You have plastic dishes also. Yeah, I do have like bowls and plate. I think I have one plate, and then I started using paper plate. So I would put the paper plate on the plastic plate, and then put my food on the paper plate. And then when I finished the meal, I'd throw the paper plate away and just use the other plastic plate as something hard, because sometimes paper plate, you pick it up at the edge and everything falls off your plate. Especially when you have like something on there, like a hamburger or something, or corn on the cob, and then your potatoes and what have you. You can't pick it up by the edge. Some paper plates are pretty strong, but the ones I get are cheap and they they just fall off. A Yeti mug, gift coffee, and Angel has a Yeti dog bowl. The dog bowl for the. So your Angel must be like a doorbell, like anything that's lurking around outside. The dog will be the first one to know that something's going on out there, and they get to warn you. That would be handy. I'm going to, oops, I'm going to get up for a little bit, and so I gotta turn my camera off so you don't get to see me shirtless. But just talk amongst yourselves for about a minute, or maybe less than a minute. right by our back. Yeah, well, if it's somebody out there that's not supposed to be, at least the dog will frighten them away. um, that just reminds me, I have not a backyard. The places here in Mexico are small. They're not like a house in Medicine Hat. But anyways, there's a poor guard dog though. um, there's a like a patio kind of a thing out the back there with a hot tub. Not there's no water in it. There's just a hot tub sitting there. But so a very very small area. But anyway, I'm sleeping and I hear this noise. Woke me up, and what the heck is that noise? I've never heard that before. That kind of a noise. It must be an animal of something. I think it sounded weird. So I get up in the dark and there's two great big sliding doors that go out to the back. Oh, she barks to get attention, then hides behind you. Let everybody know and then run away. um, so this noise got me up and I'm looking out into in the darkness through these big sliding doors. That's the whole wall almost. And I see this thing, and it looks like the size of a huge rat with a long tail. And I thought, holy smokes, look at the size of the rats they have here. They're massive. And then it would like I don't think it was blind, but it would bump into the corner, and then it would make this noise, and then it would go back the other way and then walk to the other side or something and then bump into something and then make this growling noise. So I thought, wow, what the heck is that? Well, hello, Butch, if he's watching, or she. I don't know if I can't remember if it's a he or she, but how you doing, Charlie? So I thought I'd turn the light on to see what this animal was, and I turn it on, and it's an opossum. And so, okay, in the darkness, I guess it would look like a big rat. It's got a long, big tail, but bigger than a rat. I don't know how it got into the backyard here because the yard has 6-foot high cement walls all the way around. And there are no trees or something that it can get to. I don't know how it got in there. And I think it can't get out because I thought, well, I let it go that night, and I said, oh, good, at least it can't get in. I don't think, and it went underneath the porch, whatever they call that out there. It went underneath. So then the next morning I got up and I didn't hear it that night anymore. The next night I thought, well, I wonder if it's still here. I never heard any noise, but I threw out a piece of bread or something, a piece of Yorkshire pudding that I had. I threw a piece of that out there. And I got up in the morning and it was gone. So I figured, well, something obviously ate that. And if it wasn't that, a bird could have come, landed, and taken it away. But even then, where it was, it's like there's an overhang of the apartment, not the apartment, but the suite upstairs it's an overhang. So the bird would have to, he couldn't see it. So I thought that thing must be still there. So I threw out a couple more pieces of bread, and when I checked again, those were gone. So it must be still living out there, not making any noise. As long as it can't get in the house, I don't know if it'll bite you, but it's an opossum. And I don't know how it got in the yard, and I don't know how it's going to get out. It must have crawled somehow on the next building or something and fell in the yard, because it can't crawl up the wall. Where it is, it can't crawl up the walls to get out. It's got to jump quite high in order to get back out. I mean, getting down from somewhere is easy. Getting up again is not so good. Around here, we've seen a few wild alligators and armadillo, which are very funny looking. Yeah, armadillos are very funny looking. Like they got no front feet or something. They're walking on their back feet or something all the time. They're weird. But yeah, alligators. There's crocodiles here, but they're all in the lagoon. You have to go looking for those. You don't dare go swimming in there. Like I said, that one short that I have with the crocs, I videoed it, but it was at least 10 feet long with a big bump in it, not on its back, but inside of it, like a big bump in its back. And I thought, wow, looks like his head is in. So, and I know alligators and crocodiles can jump up high out of the water, almost to their tail. And I was on a wharf and I poked him with a stick, a 7-foot stick, and he kind of hit at the stick. But I mean, I know he could have probably jumped right out there, right at me. But I mean, I knew that before I poked him. But if he would have done that, I probably would have got scared and fallen over, and you know. So it's a good thing that that didn't happen. But this opossum, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I'll tell Benny, the owner guy, and see what he says about it. If it's underneath the floorboard there, things there, I don't know how you're going to get it out of there. You'd have to trap it somehow because I don't think it can get out. I don't know how well they can climb. And it's just like white cement, like, yeah, like this wall that over here that I'm touching. The houses here are all made out of this cement. There's no 2x4 walls in here. I don't know how they when they build the place, how they put their wiring in, but you can't add on. The wires are in the walls. And so anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. As long as he can't get in the house, I'm okay. He can stay out there all year. And now we see, why does the dog howl? Ow! He's out there howling, and he's doing this continuously. There's no noise out there. There's no other dogs barking. There's nothing. Now, the way the dogs work here are really weird. Usually, people will, like, all the houses have these metal pointy gates on their houses, on their right on the front. You can't even get into the yard. And when you're in the yard, you can't get near the house. All the windows are wire steel gating, and on the door, in front of the front door and everything. You can't get into these places very well. I mean, that's within reason. And then a lot of people have dogs. They kind of look like a mix between a rat and a cat. Yeah, and a longer nose, like a rat nose, and big. I just remember watching a YouTuber. He called himself the New York's number one homeless YouTuber, or not maybe New York, but someplace. He's the number one, and he had some sort of a home built shed out in the woods, cardboard and wood and stuff he gathered up, and he would sleep off the floor because he would be sleeping there in the winter, and he raised his floor up, a few inches off the floor, but he had rats that would live under there, and an opossum came in one time, and I guess he didn't do anything, but he would live under the floor there too. But sometimes he'd come out when the guy was cooking, and he'd feed him some stuff. But I don't know what opossums are like. But anyway, they're big. But yeah, was it New York's number one? Not New York, some city, some big city, number one. And he was a real, actual, like not just for YouTube. He was a real bum, or whatever you want to call it. and people would send him money and clothing and boots and shoes and all kinds of stuff. And he would make videos and saying, please don't send me anything. I don't want anything. I don't I mean, money is different, but he even didn't want the money. uh, he just he says my friends are really my homeless friends, not you people out there that are sending me money and sending me gifts and sending me things. He said, I don't know you. um, my family and friends are the other homeless people that he knows. And he was quite humble that way. But he he lived out in the not well, near a bridge somewhere, but not under the bridge, but near a bridge in the forest, like. And in winter, you could more or less just about see his place from the street because of the leaves and the would fall off the trees, and you could see easier. But if I could remember his name, look him up. I don't know. He started three different channels. He quit one channel because people were sending him things and he didn't want anything. And he said, please don't send me. He doesn't have an address. And I don't know how they would ship him things anyways, but they did. And so finally, then they, I don't know whatever happened to him. That was 4 years ago. 5 years ago was when I was watching him. So, but I haven't heard from that opossum since the first night. The first night was, and then when I did see him, when I turned the light on, he didn't even run away. He just, it looked like he was almost like blind the way he bumped into things, but I don't think he was. Well, you never know. But he would make this growling sound that I've never heard an animal make before. And he didn't even, like I said, he didn't even run away when I turned the light on, outside light on. He still couldn't see. But when it was before I turned the light on and it was dark, I could see this shadowy figure walking around out there, and then I would see the long tail, and I thought, holy smokes, look at the size of that rat. I thought it was a rat at first. And I thought, well, Alberta is supposed to have no rats. I don't know how they know where the border is that they can't come in, but supposedly they have no rats. But anyways, a rat is like, I don't know how many times bigger than a mouse, huge, but this thing is that many times bigger than a rat too. So I thought, wow. Making my way in America. His name is Jose. Making my way in America. Does he travel by train? I followed one hobo by train. He would always say, gee, I hope this train is going to the west today, and going, but he didn't care. He just got on, said, I'd like to go a certain way. And then he would video from inside the train, like jump on a car or whatever, and video where he was going. I don't remember his name at all either. I just sort of bumped in, watched one or two of his. Oh yeah, however he can. Is a younger fellow, like not an older guy, maybe late 20s, 30 something. Making my way in America. And I just saw this one girl that I don't follow her, but yeah, younger person. Maybe it's the same guy. You never know. Well, there's probably a few, but you never know. Um, this one girl that I don't follow. I just see her, bump into her videos every now and again. Because when you watch someone's video, you get YouTube, puts them out to you then for a little while until you discover it again. Nice looking girl. Uh, considers herself as a solo, not so much wanderer, but solo female, making her way in the off grid type of way. And she'd always sit with a coffee. She had long hair at the beginning, long hair, and now she has shorter hair. And she was saying how she lived on 6 gallons of water in a month. It took her a month to get 6 gallons of water. And before it was more gallons because she had longer hair. She said just because you cut her hair, she got to save a lot more water. And she'd have a coffee and she'd say, well, how you doing today? How's your day going? Blah, blah, blah. Another, solo type female. I don't think she had a vehicle. I've seen her in a Sticks and Bricks house. I've seen her, I don't know if she was just visiting other people that lived in vans or lived in mobile homes, and that's where she stayed for a little while or what have you. But she knows that lifestyle, anyways. It is now 5 to 6 o'clock here and I think I might start thinking about what I'm going to have to eat. Make myself a extra big batch so I can have some for tomorrow. And I was thinking of just making like a spaghetti type meal with a hamburger and a bunch of vegetables, and celery and carrots and onions and what have you. And then maybe a chili type sauce or something to go in on that, and make a good pasta meal tonight. So I think I might do that. I used to drink 4 gallons a day. She had 6 gallons to deal with in a month. You'd be out of that in 2 days. 4 gallons a day. Wow. Now that's you lived up to drink your water, drink so many glasses of water in a day. Holy. Wow. Yeah, and here in Mexico, I don't know. I think they say you can actually drink the water now that comes out of your tap. But even the locals, even they don't even, I don't think, drink. Like in the parks, they have fountains. They're not, none of them are on though. They're all locked shut. But they had fountains. I wouldn't dare drink that water, even if I was born and raised here. There's no bloody way. I don't think I'd even drink out of the tap. I don't even use that tap water to cook. I use tap water to wash the dishes and to do the laundry and to shower, but I do not use that tap water to cook with or to drink. I used the bottled water that come in the big 5 gallon jugs that's everywhere, and they have big trucks with those kind of water bottles. They go down the streets, and I guess people that's where people would get their water, or they can go to the corner store and trade your bottles in for another full one. Yeah, I don't know how it is in Florida where you are, but in Canada, where I'm from, Medicine Hat, anyway, I wouldn't hesitate to drink out of the tap. I have done in Vancouver, all the way getting there back and forth from Alberta to BC, all the way across Canada. If I ever had water to drink, I tap. If there, I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard to find tap water if you're living in a van. Uh, it's so much easier just to buy bottled water that's from the store if you want to drink water. But yeah, tap water is the tap water in Medicine Hat's really good tasting actually, because it's called hard water as opposed to soft water. Yeah, but here in Mexico, this one park, like the parks here, more than 90% of the parks are not like wide open spaces. They're they're jungle with just a path, paved pathway or pathways through the jungle, and then they'll have one little area cleaned out with for a playground. Oh, well, if you the video I just put out this morning, that park there, you can see that that's a park where there's benches where you can sit, and then there's a playground area there where the trees are cut down most of the places. But even in the pathways, in the center of the pathway, there's a tree growing out of the pathway. They don't bother cutting them down and planting grass in the other areas. There's probably grass wouldn't grow there. It's over the foliage is covering it up. We're about to buy a water purifier to purify water instead of buying it. Yeah. Do you watch Static Camper Van? If you don't, write that down. Static Camper Van. He's an American, but he built his own water purifying system just out of a couple of buckets and those like carbon filter things. And he takes water from wherever he gets it, and bottled water too, whatever the water, he fills that up. And then if he has to drink it, he drinks that water. Yeah, you can buy purified things that you can hook up to your system and do that too. But this is just a homemade. And every once in a while, he'll talk about it. I don't know how you would go searching for Static Camper Van purified water system, but that's what he uses anyways. It costs about $1 a gallon right now for purified water, or for to make your own purified $1 a gallon. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Costs you $4 a day, 4 gallons. And that's something I don't worry about is like heating or in my van. So if I keep the heater on all the time, and so I burn up a lot more fuel, I don't care. It's not costing me enough or too much to say I can't afford to heat the place. I keep it the temperature what I like it to be. I don't freeze just because I think it's costing me too much money. And I've got to do a different fridge. I think I'm going to do a different. Right now I have a dorm fridge. You plug it in, yes, but it must take. I think it's probably taking too much power for me. I have solar and I have 3 batteries, and I still turn all my that kind of power off at night. So the fridge is off all night long. I used to have a Dometic fridge, which I left. It didn't seem to run the batteries down that far at all. So I'm going to have to look into getting another. And this fridge that I have has a freezer in it, but it's, like a small compartment in the top. Whereas I want to get a different kind of freezer. I had a chest freezer, and I didn't like the idea of lifting the front door one. But then people would say, well, you open the front door and all the heat, all your cold comes out, and it's instead of opening the top, and the coldness would stay in when you're getting stuff out. And that's the kind I had before, a Dometic, but it had just like one area over at the side that was the freezer part. You couldn't even partition it off. It was just, I would like to get one that has a partition that is a freezer on one side and because once things are frozen, it's not much to maintain that. And then a fridge part. And I know just to buy them are probably expensive, especially when it's called a Dometic. It just, you're paying for the name. But a chest fridge is very efficient. Is that, what kind of fridge do you have one of those? Or do you have, what kind of fridge do you have? And what's the name of it? Maybe if it's worth it, I might as well look into it and see how they are. I'm looking for something that's efficient. And as time goes on, things get really easy. Oh, you have the three-way fridge. Oh, we had a Dometic. I had a three-way fridge also. Now it's supposed to work on propane while you're driving, even still. But mine, after you tipped a certain amount, like parked after a 7-degree tip or something, the flame would go out. Well, then you don't know it, and your flame's out, and your fridge is cold. Then I could plug it in if I never was near where it plugged in, so that was useless. Into 120 volts, 12 volt. I don't know how that worked with 12 volts or not. I can't remember now. But I took it out, and it's quite a big area, quite a big space that it took up. It took up just as much space as my dorm fridge takes up. And my dorm fridge is, I don't know, 30 some inches high. It's a big unit. And my Dometic chest fridge freezer was small. It's still enough to keep one person to keep whatever food's in there, and I could set it to whatever temperature I wanted. And I'm sure I left it on all the time. And even in the winter, when you don't get much sun to replenish your solar power, it still would. And I don't have one of the, like a Jackery or a Blue Yeti or any of those. I don't have any of that. So I'm just relying solely on solar power for power. And in the winter, you don't get much. So that's another couple of things that I might worry about this year. I don't know how long I right now feel like I would like to stay in the van for as long as I possibly can. But like I said, next winter is going to be a big decision. Do I rent an apartment and stay parked somewhere? Then I'm in the sticks and the bricks. I'm not in a van. Because I don't think I could survive. I mean, I probably could. I just don't want to survive in a prairie winter in a van. I know a girl there that does in Medicine Hat. I could ask her how she, like, it's nice when you can board up the sides and stop the wind from blowing in this underneath. That's where the real cold comes in. It's not necessarily through the walls, but it's the breeze and stuff that's blowing underneath. But then you can't move around. You board up the side and you're stuck there. You have to walk places. You got to be near a shopping center or whatever, bathrooms or water. You got to be near things. So if I stay in a sticks and bricks house, then I'm there for the winter. I can't afford to go. I can't get a job. I mean, yeah, I could get a job, but I couldn't go anywhere. If you're working, you can't just go anywhere. And I'd like to go somewhere where it's warm again, like maybe to a different city in Mexico, or go to. I have friends in Turkey, and we'd go there visit, and I could rent my own place there. It's just as cheap as here. Or back to Vancouver again for the winter. That's one of the mildest places to go for wintertime. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It's a month's away, but yet that time will come so fast that I'll have to decide. And I am 70 and I'll be 71 by that time. So, the days are going by. Life is ticking away. Okay, so yeah, your last statement there, you said you had a Dometic. That means that you have a three-way now? Well, you took out, and sold it. You took it out and sold it. Okay. So what are you using right now? Or what's the name of it? Is it a Dometic also? I sold my Dometic for $800. I think I paid. I might have paid between 9 and 1,200 for it when I first bought it. That was just like a cooler type size chest, but it worked really well. It was a really nice fridge. I just needed the space above it so that I could open the top up all the time. But it was very efficient. And I think I might look into. Oh, I turn it off every night anyway, so it doesn't. Uh, I think it's got 1.5 or something amps, which is pretty low, but not low enough. My diesel heater is less than that. I think the diesel heater 1.5 amps. It's very small amount of power. I don't even notice. You have a Viber from Amazon. Well, that's something to look up. I can check that out. I will check that out. And like I said, I don't have I don't have any money. But then when you watch, what's his name? He's from this. He does that Rubber Tramp. Mostly he started it or something. What's his name? I think you know who I'm talking about. Has a white beard. He does reviews on all kinds of like cheap ways to do things, cheap fridges, um, all kinds of things. I could look up and see what he Iceco. Iceco sounds good, and it has to be 12 volt powered. Um, well, okay, so hang on a second. See, that's why. How is that now? My dorm fridge is 120 volt, and I turn the 120 volt off every night. I leave the 12 volt running, but it runs on 120 volts, but yet it's still 1.5 amps, which is actually pretty low. But still, it must suck up enough power that I can't. Uh, every once in a while, I could hear my converter would make a beeping sound telling me that it's trying to put out more power than like time to shut down. And I did have a microwave, not a good idea. Even the lowest powered microwave it would draw a lot of juice while it's on. Otherwise, if it's not on, what good is it? Um, yeah, I think it had 700 amps or something, or 700 watts, and that's pretty small, pretty low. I could run it for half a minute, and it would blow the breaker. And then I got bigger wires, and then I could run it for 3 or 4 minutes, just long enough to maybe cook something, heat up your leftovers. All right, it's all right, Justin and Christina. Thank you for spending the time out of your day to come by and help me out. It's 120 volt. You have to use inverter. Yeah, I do have an inverter, and then the inverter takes power itself also. Yours is 800. Mine was only 700, and I still had problems because the wires weren't big enough. Then I put bigger wires in. I think size 6 or size 4 wires, and then it would handle. But it would. It all depends on when you wanted to run this. Then it would, would. I have an inverter now, and that's the way I run my fridge at the moment. But I think it just draws. I have to find something with very, very low, and it's the amps that, I mean, you can't get something with 0 amps. You need power. But anyways, guys, I'm going to call her an evening, and I don't know whether I'm going to be back on yet later on tonight. It all depends how I feel after I eat. Maybe I'll just watch a movie or sit back and relax and do something on the computer. I did put a video out today. Go have a look at that park. It's a park, believe it or not, but it's like a jungle. There's trees everywhere. There was a tennis court in this one. It's very well wired. Yeah, mine is, I don't know if you remember my van. It's a Class B, same way, big ugly top thing on it, but it was wired, built inside from a Canadian company that built it that way. And I'm surprised. It's a 1995. I'm surprised the amount, the stuff that they had back then in them days. Because now everything can be way different. But even back in 1995, they had wires everywhere. They had converters and inverters and all kinds of stuff. I had to put the inverter in myself, but it had a converter, 12 volt, 120 volt. But anyways, we'll check into those. A Vever, and an IceCo. We'll check into that and see what those are all about. All right, guys. Thank you for coming in, spending your time out of your day. And if nobody's told you they loved you today, let me be the first. I love you. And thanks, guys, for popping in. Stay cool, be kind, and stay awesome. That's the biggest thing. Stay awesome, my friends. We'll catch you on the next one. When I pop up, you see a notification, pop in. Okay, guys, talk to you later.